Hi guys, I'm going to watch this brain pop video with you on seedless plants.
Ha! Good luck trying to start an ecosystem there. Uh, well, if I were playing, I'd start by sprinkling in some mosses. Maybe a few liverworts, too. Dear Tim and Moby, can you tell me about mosses and ferns? From Angie. Yep, they are indeed plants. Like all other plants, mosses and ferns are eukaryotic, meaning their cells have a nucleus. They also contain cell walls made of cellulose, a tough, fibrous material. And they're autotrophic, which means they make their own food. In particular, they carry out photosynthesis, a process that turns carbon dioxide into sugar. Unlike most plants, though, mosses and ferns don't reproduce with seeds. Those are basically tiny, undeveloped plants in a protective coating. Instead of seeds, mosses, ferns, and other seedless plants use special reproductive cells called spores. Spores are so tiny that when a mature plant releases them into the air, the wind can easily disperse them over great distances. And if a spore lands somewhere with the right conditions, it can grow into a whole new plant. Well, just because they all grow from spores doesn't mean seedless plants are all the same. They're actually broken into two main types: vascular and non-vascular. Vascular seedless plants have channels that carry water and nutrients throughout their bodies, sort of like veins and arteries. Ferns are the most common of these. There are more than 12,000 different species. Like all vascular plants, ferns have specialized channels for water transport, as well as roots and stems similar to those in seed plants. That allows them to grow pretty tall, sometimes more than 15 feet. Ferns also have spiral-shaped structures that uncurl into broad leaves called fronds, many of which produce spores. Other vascular seedless plants include ground pines and spike mosses with their needle-like leaves, and horsetails with their jointed stems. They all produce spores at the tips of their stems in structures that look like miniature pine cones. Non-vascular seedless plants, or bryophytes, have simpler structures. Instead of vascular channels, they transport water and nutrients directly through their thin cell walls. It helps that most bryophytes are just a few cells thick and don't grow taller than a few centimeters. Thin root-like threads called rhizoids hold the plant in place and also absorb water from the ground. You'll find bryophytes all over the world in damp environments with plenty of moisture, like forest floors or near ponds, lakes, and streams. Yep, mosses are the most common type of bryophyte. They grow in clumps or layers on the ground, tree trunks, or even rocks. From a distance, they might look like fuzzy green carpets, but up close, they're actually made of leaf-like growths around short, wiry stalks. That's one of the thousands of species of liverworts, funny-looking bryophytes with bodies that look like flattened leaves. True, this lava field doesn't look like the best home for any type of life. But mosses and liverworts are among the first plants to grow in harsh environments like these. Spores carried by wind onto bare rocks can survive for a long time in dry conditions. All they need is a little moisture to start growing. When these first plants die, decaying plant matter starts to build up. This kickstarts the process of soil formation, gradually creating an environment where other plants can grow. Yep, that's why seedless plants played such an important role in the evolution of life on Earth. Hundreds of millions of years ago, when all the dry land was rock, bryophytes were the only plants that could grow. They broke down the soil enough for ferns to grow as well, and that provided an environment for the animals that followed. Over time, the layers of dead plant matter from these original species formed much of the coal we use today for fuel. Okay, now you're just cheating.